everybody.
That might be for me.
I'll send some. Hi, Rob.
Hi, Rob. Can you hear us?
That's my son.
Yes, I can.
Okay, your mom just said hi. We're not live quite yet.
Darren,
Hello, Sandy.
we have an air conditioning unit that isn't operating in my room.
Okay.
So it's been that way for a week. I waited until I could
These are the
see
things
you.
when we get
Okay.
to the public
You'll
hearing.
figure it out.
And
Yeah,
the things
all
we
the-
document
that's-
in detail.
Which air conditioning unit is it?
The
Is
one
it
in-
one like
Yeah,
that?
you got it.
I wish.
Okay.
And if we don't get it all
Some
now,
dumbass
we can
decided
see
that
later
we
when it's
didn't
something.
need those. And so we have portable that we hook up and
Okay, and the portable one is not working.
we each have to have one in our room.
Okay.
They-
You'll wait your turn, I guess.
Because
There's your
one
social
doesn't work.
distance.
Because one doesn't work, we have to have two.
Okay. All right. So I'll have to figure out how those.
It'd be nice to just figure those out.
I don't know where I got the money for that though, right now. So we'll have to see. We'll have to
Well,
bring
in
that
July.
up.
You know, it's close to the new year.
Yeah.
That's why I wasn't too concerned.
Okay. We'll figure something
I
out.
know you will. If you'd have to do the other, you do the other again, but that was expensive, in my opinion,
Well, yeah.
for something that only lasted 2 summers. This would be summer 3.
Okay.
I find that interesting that I get to be on the camera.
Well, you and I both. See, here we go. So, are we ready? It's 8:31, and I'll call this meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors to order. First item on our agenda is acknowledge the minutes from our previous meeting. I have a motion from Sandquist, a second from Hamilton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Supervisor Lee Dimmitt is not with us today. He's out of the office, and he'll be back in later this week. So we miss him and hope that he can get a chance to review this at the time. So let's move on then to meeting with Sandy Stever.
Hi.
Hi.
This is different. We do a lot of Zoom meetings, but having some in a room and some not is just different.
Yeah.
Plus yours don't have it where you can speak back and forth.
Well, yeah, we do. People are listening. They have a chance to comment. And it just works like a regular Zoom meeting, except there's more of us in this one room on one camera.
Okay. All right. So mental health region, SEAL region update is, we're trying to finish up the contracts for FY21, and I believe that we've got them all except for one prepared and ready to go for the Wednesday board meeting. And the one that's not ready is not the management team's issue. So, it's being, worked on. So that's coming right along. There's going to have to be changes during FY21 for the FY22 because of the inequities across the providers, with services from one provider being at a certain level or greater, but less money devoted to them over another provider with maybe less services, and and all that has to be looked at with utilization review, which I'm involved in. So anyway, that's going to occur during the next fiscal year.
How is the financial with the property taxes coming in slower?
A little bit. We think we in Jefferson County have most, if not all of it, for us. And we're waiting on the next. We're always the last ones. It should be any day now to get the last monthly report so that I have an idea of where the numbers are. We owe the region for FY20 $300,000. I believe off the top of my head, there's about 250-ish thousand available to leave us with a little bit of money to operate on. It was, when you deplete and there's not enough to leave a balance there for the administrative needs for the first quarter, pending the next property tax money, that becomes a problem. So we're just going to probably have to owe and do a amendment later. And I sure hope Jefferson County gets out of that, because we seem to be the only ones that are in that problem. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
Well, this year, there's a lot of counties in that problem just because property tax revenues are slower because of COVID.
For that reason,
Yes.
but not for any other reason.
Right.
Ours is lack of fund balance.
So what would solve that?
We have to increase it.
So that's a budget.
It's a budget issue.
Yeah.
We
So
need
next
to
budget,
get it up to that 30. Well, they say we can have 40%. We need to get up to at least 30% fund balance. And it, prior to Darren and a little bit UD, it got depleted to basically zero. And that leaves nothing to operate on between July 1st and the end of September. And that's how that happened. So that was in the day when the state, in their infinite wisdom, said, hey, we don't want anybody to have more than 20% fund balance. Well, we went to basically nothing.
can you talk a little bit about the mobile crisis?
I've got all kinds of things to talk about.
This is a brand new service that's coming in 4 counties, and we are one of them, have access to it. And so tell us how people access it, how it's going to be rolled out.
So Mobile Crisis is, I brought a flyer, but I did not do it in color because it costs more. I don't know if Abby wants one, and I'll leave a couple. But Mobile Crisis is coming. It started a week ago, it started Monday of Memorial Day weekend, whatever Monday that was. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago. Anyway, instead of going out in the field and actually being mobile, it's going out as telemedicine to get actually started. Anyway, it did start slow. I thought about that, Darren. That's why I'm sitting back here, because I just don't.
Well, we're social distance, but we have a new guest in here that has never been in with us, so that's why I put my mask on. So
Anyway.
Thank you for being here.
So instead of telemedicine, instead of Mobile Crisis out in the field, it's Mobile Crisis telemedicine. But like I said, it's slow. There's the number here is just now getting publicized
And where will it be publicized?
anywhere we need to. All over, hopefully.
So will it go out to the media,
I've
Sheriff,
notified the radio, I've done an interview for the newspaper.
Good.
It's my interview, I don't think it's been in the newspaper yet, but I've done one for the newspaper. Mobile crisis is something that I've been in charge of also.
So
And
tell
been
us,
involved for at least 2 years with the RFP and going through the entire process. So it, you know, personally, it was a little bit of a disappointment to like take this long to get started. But
so tell us in a nutshell what it is. Basically, if somebody has a mental health crisis, this is a service they can call instead of calling.
instead of calling anybody else, sometimes they don't call anybody or they don't know who to call, and they're often the law enforcement people are telephoned, and all of that is fine. Even if law enforcement goes out, they might quickly assess or determine that, oh, it's not really suicidal or homicidal issues, it's psychosis, you know, some mania, and they themselves could call for someone to come out to the field and assist. Different people have been hired, you know, with the right qualifying degrees to do mobile crisis. The unfortunate part is all of those people, you know, they work, you know, and so they've got their job, you know, 8 to 5. And so none of them want to be on call or respond during their own work hours. They're not able to do that. So in the end, it was just stated, you need to start it from 5 at night until 7 in the morning. Call it good, you know, for now. And besides, we do have the ability for people to still access Optimate. In fact, that's not going away. Optimate will still do their assessments and determine need also. So, you know, right now we know there's going to be some bumps in the road, especially if we're doing telemedicine instead of actual out in the field stuff. And so, but here's the number. So you can put that wherever you need to put that. And we just need to publicize it as best we can. And it takes all of us. It's not like any one person's going to go around and stick flyers up. We just all need to be available to do that.
Okay, and the telephone number for the mobile crisis telemedicine response line is 833-854-7613.
Yeah, okay.
A little closer.
So, in addition to that, and I brought the June calendar, the Recovery Center still operates. We have the programming that's occurring. And the people that run our Recovery Center, they go out at least once a week with food for identified individuals that are, you know, that could use the food. And as we all know, there's not enough food resources, you know, so they give enough food for at least one meal daily for the week. And, or at least that's the goal. And so I don't know how many that is right at the moment. It kind of varies, you know, here and there, but if there's a need and if somebody knows there's a need, they just need to call. And then the last thing that I feel is important that I just got information on, a phone call on, and here's the link, that I just got notified on Friday evening, is the merger. And so there's a merger that's occurring between Tenco and First Resources. And so that will change the way the region operates, sort of. Like, we're going to have all the same services and all the same programs, but instead of contracting with Tenco, or First Resources. We're going to be contracting with one agency under a new name, yet to be determined, or at least I asked what it was, and they said, well, we're going to implement a new name on January 1st, which doesn't really tell me if they know the name or if they're still developing it. I'm assuming they're developing it. So the contract for the region for FY21, at least for TENCO, is actually going to identify First Resources, also known as TENCO, or some words to that effect, so that we, at least in the region, are fully aware, what the service is and for which former agency we were contracting that through. So that was just a surprise.
Sure.
I'm supposed to learn more yet today. Actually, on Friday night, I was so taken off guard by that news that I finally said, I'll tell you what, why don't you let me take the weekend to digest this, and you guys call me back on Monday.
Well, the important thing is that the people still get the services they need.
Yeah, our services are not going to change.
Yeah.
My hope is that when you have two small agencies, and with the way the MCOs are, which is really no doubt the catalyst that caused this, but if you have these two small agencies, having a merger to create a bigger organization should help us all. I'm hoping it helps, Jefferson County in the way of site homes and direct care needs, direct care staff, and such things. I'm very hopeful of that. First Resources brings with them services that we've not had located here, and they still might not be located here, but they will be at least accessible because it'll be part of all the catchment area. But it's doing drug and alcohol screenings and evals.
Good. Be
So,
nice to have that available.
and if I ever needed it, and CETA couldn't do it, CETA's and they've struggled. So I've always just picked up the phone and called their drug and alcohol counselor, which is Kurt Condon. I don't know if anybody knows him, but he's a long time Jefferson County resident. I don't know if he lives here still or moved to Jefferson or Wapler County, but I remember when he was a baby. It's hard to imagine that they're all grown up now.
Okay, thanks, Sandy.
Those are my things that I wanted to be sure to talk about.
Good, thank you.
Anything else?
Nope, I think that's great. Thank you, Sandy. Okay, we'll move on to meet with our county engineer. Scott, you want to come on over?
Morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
So, crews are out, motivator operators are out blading gravel roads and blading gravel roads for dust control. Whoever was gonna, I think it was Benz and Stevens that said that they would be in this week doing actually applying dust control for various people that have contracted with them. And finished up cleanup seeding on the Redwood Avenue Tank Car Bridge project. It looks pretty good. A week from today, they're supposed to start on the next tanker car bridge replacement, which would be on 265th. And getting that one done this summer will help with when the 257th bridge is closed down for replacement. And then they did edge rut repair on H17 west of Packwood. putting rock down on the shoulders and blading it in. They've been doing mowing. Right now we're limited to doing places for like sight distance. We can't go out and do the rest of the ditch. You can do along the shoulders on the pavements, and then we're starting to do some gravels over the shoulders. Then some concrete patching was done. I mean, we're constantly doing patching wherever the asphalt's going to go down, and the concrete goes bad because of all the trucks going back and forth across it. So they patch those areas, any that appear. I also did some cold mix pothole patching on V63 Packwood Road. Moved voting booths and replaced the culvert. So then contracted maintenance or contracted, I'll give you Norris first. They were working on Pleasant Plain Road, hot mix asphalt resurfacing. Last to be done will be Germanville. The concrete portion on Vetch was finished up and opened up. And on Brookville Road, part of the shoulders still need to be gravelled, and then the edge line, white edge line striping will be done after that's been done on there. Some other work going on by a contractor is slurry leveling was done on Pleasant Plain Road and on Airport Road. And grout pumping was done on Kale Boulevard, a couple of different places. With all that truck traffic going through there, it seems like I noticed some settlement, and they came in and put some grout in because they were in the area anyway. Brookville Road Bridge, first one north of Gear. There's one place on the north end where the concrete that was done years ago was settling, so they pumped that up. And
that would have been the bridge approach. Right?
Yeah, it was. It may be partially due to all that truck traffic too.
Mm-hmm.
So there's several different things we've had to do because of all of the extra traffic due to the asphalt resurfacing. I think that's all I have.
Libertyville Road, the patching that's going to go on out there just to the east of Libertyville. There's quite a little bit out there that I've seen that's marked out, and there's an area that's maybe 200 foot long, 100 foot long, where the pavement is cracked off, and there's a very distinct crack line through there.
Mm-hmm.
That was all marked for being patched. Is that what's going to go on with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that.
And that's done by a contractor? Or us?
No, it'll be done by a contractor.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I requested at programming time, that we be able to do that with some of the bond money.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, we're going to be doing some work on asphalt resurfacing of parts of that road. It might change a bit over time depending on what happens between now and when that work gets done.
Did we hear anything more about the 1 mile stretch up by Pekin School?
We have not, and they've been asked about getting us some figures, and we haven't received any back. I don't know if it has something to do with their scheduling, because they've been they've been doing some work on Saturday, 1 or 2 Saturdays, just to try to keep up with their schedule. And they had a breakdown on Thursday, I think.
Well, that's what I was wondering. Must have been Thursday afternoon. They were out Thursday morning on Pleasant Plain Road, and then by Thursday afternoon, they were packed up and gone by 2:30 or 3 o'clock.
Right, they were
Somewhere in
repairing their paver
Mm-hmm.
and having to repair the part of the road that kind of got messed up with the paver malfunctioning. So that set them back a little bit too.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
hoping to get a quote from them, or have them at least say if they're willing to do it or they can't do it, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
All right. Is that all, Scott? You got anything else?
I think I already mentioned about, I already did mention that. Later on, I got some,
Paperwork for me to.
some
Sign,
utility
just
permit.
Okay.
I think that is everything.
All right. So we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is an update from Public Health.
and Chris is gonna be on Zoom.
Chris, Esther,
Hey.
are you
Hey,
on?
Yeah, I just asked her to give an update because it'd been a while since we've had.
I am on. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, yeah, it's been a little hectic, as you guys know. I just checked the numbers. We have 37 confirmed cases right now. I anticipate that to go up again. I mean, we're just seeing, more and more people as restrictions are getting lifted. Let's see. I want to thank everybody at the courthouse for doing the best mitigation that they possibly can. So I appreciate that. We don't really know what the new normal is going to look like. We continue to get updates and attend Zoom meetings and stuff from the state health department and our other partners. I know that it's been very frustrating for high school sports activities because the Department of Ed, Department of Health and Human Services, IDPH, and the governor's office, all in their guidance, all say contact local public health for additional resources or guidance. We have no different guidance than what's provided to us by the Iowa Department of Public Health. So that gets to be a little frustrating for our community partners, but we're doing the best we can do. Everybody wants a standardized set of rules, and unfortunately there's not a standardized set of rules when it comes to high school sports. And if you're not feeling well and then you're trying to think, well, is it allergies or is it COVID? And so it's been a little bit challenging. I know people are tuned into it more. Sorry, the phone's ringing. I don't have to get it, but it's just kind of distracting. We continue to, Brett Farrell and I continue to meet. We talk every day. The Emergency Operations Center is still open here, but it's not staffed like it was. So between Brett and Stacy Worley and I from the hospital, we continue to talk daily, usually several times a day. We had a community Zoom meeting last week. We were meeting weekly, and then there wasn't a need. So then we kind of changed it up. So now it's just going to be kind of on an as needed basis, which is totally fine. I don't like to attend meetings unless they're needed. So everybody knows how to get a hold of us if they need something. Let's see, what else? There's Brett. I will say it's been a little challenging with some of the restaurants, and I did have to make a phone call to Dave Thomas, the chief of police, because one of the restaurants in town has been operating at 100% capacity. And that's not my rule. That is the governor's rule. It's still part of that proclamation. So one of the officers was going to go out and just remind the owner that, hey, you still need to be at 50% capacity, whatever that looks like for your business. So We continue to work with all of our community partners, including schools, colleges. I will say this, it's last week I got a phone call, and of course everybody knows everything because it's on Facebook, so it's 100% truth and gospel, right? So there's no chance for, I can take my picture off and you guys, I really am live, I'm really here. People think that they should know information that they really don't have access to. It's not their right to have that protected health information. This communicable disease follow-up with COVID is no different than any other communicable disease that we are currently participating in the follow-up with. It's still restricted, it's still protected. So sometimes people think that they're entitled to know where those cases are, or if we have a spike in numbers someplace. And I very politely informed this individual that it doesn't matter what role you have, that is not information that you're going to receive from the health department. So if a business or industry, school, whoever wants to release information specific to their facility, they can do that. But that information will not come from me. That will come from the respective business or industry. So it gets a little challenging sometimes. We're not hiding anything, but this is the reality of communicable disease and what public health does. If you were the one that was sick with a communicable disease, I don't think you want me saying, "Oh, hey, Chris Estel's got blah blah." So that's just not how this works. So that was kind of an unpleasant phone conversation that I had with this person. So for the most part, people get it. You can't mitigate human behavior when it comes to social media and the things that they post. So that's what I know. I'm really thankful that I've had 26 years of experience being a nurse, 12 of which have been at public health. Because if this would have been my first week, you guys have heard me say this before, I probably would have crawled under my desk and cried and quit by now. So it's been a rough go, but we have great community partners. I know that you guys have been accessible. If I've needed anything, my board of health has been wonderful, especially Dr. Trent being our board physician. He's been an amazing resource to all of us. So do you guys have any questions? I just kind of ramble on, but hey, I try to expedite the update. So I'm giving you the condensed version in like 5 minutes versus 3 hours of me droning on.
I think that was a good summary. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chris.
You're welcome.
9 o'clock. Well, we missed 8:15. No, that's tomorrow. Sorry. It's 9 o'clock. Public hearing on the CDBG food insecurity grant.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay, you got a second from me. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Public hearing is open.
Okay, just to recap briefly, Brett Farrell came to me, oh gosh, several weeks ago during COVID, and the federal government through the state government had some community development block grant funds available. And he and Chris had talked about doing something for food insecurity, so I know I've done a lot of work in that area. So I worked with Chris at Area 15 Regional Planning, and we submitted a grant, which we received. And so because there are federal dollars involved, there's a lot of paperwork. So this is going to be a little more in-depth than our normal. So the need for the CDBG project was basically food insecurity. Submitted 3 proposals. One was carry-on bags. It's a program that's been in place since 2014. Before COVID, they were doing about 220 bags a week. So the need has definitely increased. And so they can receive $13,200. Drive-by supper was formerly come to supper, but because of COVID, it went from being held in the church, and it's a community project, even though it's a church. I know several groups like Rotary, Kiwanis. Now it's just people within the church volunteering because of COVID. So drive-by supper is set up in the parking lot and people can drive by and pick up their supper. It's on Tuesdays. And again, before COVID, it was about 40 per week, and now they're up to about 80 to 84. So the request for this is for $4,800, which is a grant. Communities, and I asked for with working individuals in food insecurity issues. There's needs in the rural Jefferson County. So we wanted to do a pilot, which is hard to put together in all the communities in a short time frame. I know next week we'll probably start in Lockridge. One of the churches there is going to help, and they will start with 30 meals. I've had some preliminary conversations with Stephanie Hopkins at the schools to see if we can do anything with them, because they're already going out and delivering. So maybe we can provide to the adults. So that's, again, not final, but that's where we are now. So we can go up to 4,500. I doubt at this time if we'll be able to do spend all that, just because of the logistics of starting new programs. The challenge is this is a very short timeline because it's COVID emergency timeline. So we received notice on May 8th, and we have to have all the paperwork submitted by July 20th. So that's an extremely short timeline when you're talking start new programs. So my hope is we can at least get 1 or 2 pilots going to see what the need is. And then we have such a good community here. If we show a need, we can move forward. $1,000 to purchase a freezer, and that's if you can find one. They're hard to find for the drive-by supper program. So the total is $23,500. And so that is the need, the description, basically. So number 2 on our list, the amount of the funds for the project, the estimated amount that the funds will benefit paperwork, but people don't have to fill out an income statement because we didn't want barriers to any of these programs. However, we do know that people in need are the ones getting them. They're not being abused by any need, because carry-on bags and drive-by supper has been up and running for a while. And if we work with the schools, we go to homes anyway. So. Location of project activities, we talked about that. Carry-on bags goes to the schools. The meals are bagged at the Methodist Church. Drive-by suppers at First Lutheran Church. And outlying communities is to be determined. I know that probably it's going to be the community center in Lockridge starting next week. Residents to contact with concerns or complaints. They can contact the Board of Supervisors, especially me, since I've been working on this. So that would be DC Inquest. Community development and housing needs of low to moderate persons in the county, and any potential activities to address these. The funds that doesn't apply to this grant. And so Josh Larrabee, I know you're on here because you can at least speak to this and any community development housing needs or assessments from your economic development standpoint. So if you've got anything about housing needs of low to moderate persons, can you share that, Josh?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I think there might be a little disruption in the internet. I've been on for about a half hour and it's been a little choppy, so let me know if you can't hear me. So you want me to focus on low to moderate income housing?
Right.
Okay.
And that's
So,
that you're
what's
aware.
that? I'm sorry, what?
That was the needs that you're aware of?
For low
Yeah.
moderate.
So the city of Fairfield conducted a housing needs assessment in partnership with our office, Fairfield Economic Development Association, about 5.5 years ago. That, without getting too far into the weeds, basically that housing assessment showed that we have, and this will be no surprise, a significant aging housing stock. and that we needed housing in all areas, including low to moderate income, as far up as custom housing. The preferences showed across the board single family and shared wall construction, which is like apartments or condos. So basically everything across the board. And I would only anticipate that the numbers showing an increase across the board because our population in the county is estimated to have grown by 8.6%. Of course, we'll find that out after the 2020 census. But the estimate from the U.S. Census Bureau is showing 8.6% as of July 1, 2019. There are some projects that have taken place in the low to moderate income area, and there's one significant one that will be coming online within the county, city and county here. We have seen 57 condos completed from 2016 to 2019 that fit the low to moderate income guidelines in North Campus Village. There's another 18 homes that were started this year that will fit those, the low to moderate income guidelines, and those should be completed within, I think, about 2.5 years from now. In addition, I am working on another development in that neighborhood, proposing 35 low to moderate income homes that would start this year also. The project that is about to come online, estimated for this year, is what's known as the former Broadway building or Loudon Machinery building at 607 West Broadway. That is a low to moderate income housing development, rental units that will bring on approximately 40 apartments. It's plus or minus 1 or 2 units there. I can't remember the exact number, but approximately 40 units. That'll be a subsidized apartment development. And that is estimated to come online this mid-time this year.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
Yep.
Good job. Anything else that you want to add about that?
Not unless there's anything else you think we need to cover.
No, I think you've covered what we need. And then we want to ask for any input from the public on this.
Yeah, we have some members of the public. Do you all have any questions? Anyone here in the room?
I don't know about questions, but on the real estate thing, there's over 800 houses for sale in Jefferson County right now on the real estate market. 1, 2, I think you're getting way overboard on your numbers for residents, because I have several, and there's several apartments and houses sitting empty right now. That's not being, so these subsidized deals, that's just going to hurt the private individual.
Can you talk to that? Because the grant does not involve housing that we're talking about it because it's required for the grant to be.
Yeah, so CBDG, I'm not an expert, but because that money essentially comes from HUD at the federal level, they do require this step, like you had said. I'm not familiar with over 800 houses available in Jefferson County. What is your source for that? That's great news.
From the realtors, because I've got a house listed, and they told me there was over 800 in Jefferson County listed.
Who said that? You're a realtor?
The realtors, yes.
Well, I mean, I'm just here to share what's happening. I can tell you that our employers in the community are reporting that they're not able to attract and retain the talent that they need because of a number of reasons. One of them being housing. So not only do we have, the study, but also our employers are saying, we have people who are not taking positions here in our county for one of the significant reasons being available housing stock, which we call workforce housing, which essentially means housing that matches the price, kind of that range that would be affordable for those folks to come into town for the average wage. So that's good feedback. I mean, I'm in touch with the realtors, and I'll check in. I didn't know there was over 800 homes available.
That's what they just told me last week.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Okay, I'll accept the motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second by Hamilton. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Public hearing is closed. So we don't have any action that we need to take after the public hearing is closed. So we'll move on to consider a resolution for budget reappropriation. This resolution says, whereas it is desired to appropriate additional budget to Department 31 District Court in Service Area 1000 due to unusual high guardian ad litem expenses, and whereas Department 5 County Sheriff Service Area 1000 has ample budget, therefore be it resolved by the Board of Supervisors of Jefferson County that the reappropriation of Service Area 1000 in the amount of $700 from the county sheriff budget to the district court budget be made. So do I have any comments on the resolution? I would accept a motion to approve the resolution.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, a motion by Sandquist, a second by Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to our next agenda item, consider hiring Corey Clem as part-time employee for the Jefferson County Conservation Board. We have a letter from Sean Morrissey, the director of the board. The Jefferson County Conservation Board would like to hire Corey Clem as a part-time employee June through August, hourly rate of $10 per hour. And again, this is recommended by Sean Morrissey, the director of the Jefferson County Conservation Department. Myself, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on. Discuss and consider discuss and consider the request for Dan Ritz. Okay, Dan's here with us. To us.
Well, this was submitted a while back. These two copies are not signed ones, but I have a signed one here. I think everything is in order as far as the county. The 2 mile extraterritorial jurisdiction of Maharishi Vedic City. And normally we get information from them that they're either going to waive their jurisdiction or they're going to exercise their jurisdiction, and right now to Mr. Van Ritz that as the mayor of Maharishi Vedic City said they apologize for the length of time the city council is taking in considering the subdivision request. Circumstance passed away. It's taken several months for them to finish dealing with a lot of different issues. Says when the subdivision request was received, it would normally have been referred to the city attorney who would make a recommendation after looking at any potential issues. They hope that when they engage one, the request would be at the top of the list of things for the new attorney to review. Then the way this affects things, sometimes we get an approval from one of the two cities that they go ahead and approve something, and then the board approves it, and then it gets recorded.
Mhm.
Well, it normally can't be recorded without both approvals.
Mhm.
I mean, or at least an approval and a waiver.
Mr. Ritz.
They basically told me that, they won't give me no information. If they have any objections, they just basically shut me out
Okay.
and been very rude about it. They wouldn't even notify me what their minutes of their meeting was.
Okay. We have Kent Boyum on from Maharshi.
Yeah, they
see.
haven't bothered to tell me if there's objections or anything of this nature.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've tried to. I don't think it's Van's fault that because their city attorney died, there's other attorneys out there that are dragging their feet. And as you know, it's no zoning in this county anyway. So I'm here to help represent Van because I put the sewer in there for it. That's why I'm here today. Yeah, I have considerable investment trying to straighten out the mess my brother left me. I mean, I've had to put in water systems, I've put in sewer systems.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're saying that, well, whenever we get to you, we'll feel like thinking about it. It was basically stonewalled me off.
Okay.
I'm Lynn's stepdaughter, and I am very interested in purchasing one of the pieces of the property.
It's still gonna be in the family.
Okay.
That's basically what I'm after, trying to things subdivided up so we can take care of the family. And I do not want to leave the mess my brother left.
Okay. Kent Boyum, can we get a comment from you for the city of Maharshi Vedic City? We're not hearing you, Kent. Let's see.
How about now?
Now we can hear you. Okay.
There's this little button called mute that hides down on the left. So I met Vern one day. He came to City Hall, and the city clerk I thought, treated him very nicely. He thought this could be done fairly quickly. But I do honestly, you know, I've spoken to 7 or 8 different attorneys, trying to get an attorney, including what's his name? He's part-time with Jefferson County Attorney's Office. I've talked to
Mike Brown.
Several others that said that they're too busy or they're too tired. Mike had experience, but about 30 years ago. And so I should tell you the mayor and our city council actually passed this idea of having the mayor send a letter before you were actually on the board on this agenda for the board meeting. I did become aware of it after last meeting, and they sent you this letter. So we did give you some feedback, Mr. Ritz, and I know you have, but you know, it isn't that the city council has taken this action yet. We did tell you that we had some concerns about guns that had been shooting, you know, with your brother, I understand. And you told me that you had had those people move off the property.
When I was kids, it was kids that were
That's not zoned or anything. And what's guns have to do with it?
Well, there is a hotel that serves people of all kinds. Actually, in as you know, you're right on the borderline of our city. And we do
shooting stuff. I moved out. I told you that.
I know, but you said we were rude to you and other things, and I don't think.
People are gone.
Yeah, so good. So, and you have been cleaning up the facilities under your brother. I think it, you know, it was, anyway, it was very messy. It's not we do have the right to I did talk to Pat McAvan. He can have an opinion on this as well, but we do have the right to comment on it, and every thing within 2 miles of either Fairfield or Marshfield City does have the right to have some comments on that. And so, yeah, so our attorney died. I mean, so, and she's a good friend of ours, of course, and worked with us on many things. So we are hoping to get to you, and I've looked at the plat. Yeah, so I've looked at the plat. Yes?
The minutes of the meeting, I asked for them in writing, and nothing was done.
So I'll ask the city clerk why you don't have them. You should have some minutes. I mean, and we're public. You can come. You know, it's a public meeting, just like the supervisors meeting. You could come to any of our meeting. It's the second and the fourth.
Not made felt as public meeting. I basically told you to make a decision and get back to me. And I ended up having to call 3 weeks later to even get that.
I know you spoke with Chris Johnson, one of our city, one of our council members, and I know the two of you had some argumentative from both sides, I would assume. So I don't know what you said to him. I don't know what he said to you, but.
20 minutes before this meeting started, in Jefferson County needed housing, and you got a family member there, and she wants to move back to the area, so what's the hold up there?
I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry. What did you say?
Before this meeting with you, they were talking about housing and apartments, and now we're trying to get more people to come here, and you're prohibiting that.
Where is your next meeting going to be? It sounds like by what Scott said, we need to have a recommendation from the city. Is that correct, Scott?
Well, they could waive, which they haven't done, or they could act on it, consider one way or the other, and have that.
Yeah.
So what we really need is, before the survey can be recorded, is approval by this board, approval or waiver or whatever by Maharishi Vedic Cities Council. We need both of those things because of the 2 mile extraterritorial jurisdiction before the survey can be recorded. You know, say the board approved it and the city hasn't acted in one way or another, it can't be recorded. And then the time, once this board approves it, there's a time frame, and I don't recall what it is, 90 days, 120 days before they have to record it in. So I mean, it cuts into that time.
So if the board approves it today, then the ball is all in Vedic City's court when it comes to getting the plat finalized and recorded.
That would be my understanding. I'm not sure if Pat McAvan has something.
I don't know. Chauncey or Pat, are you on, and can you comment to this?
Hey, this is Chauncey. Pat's actually at a training right now, so he's unavailable. Kent, if you've had a conversation with Pat about this, I would defer to him, because me and Pat have not had a conversation about what you guys talked about.
I did, yes, I did.
The controversy is essentially over the jurisdiction of Vedic City's 2 mile boundary. Is that right?
No, I don't believe there's any controversy over that. He told me that it's appropriate for, well, he said he couldn't give legal advice because he's not our attorney and he also represents the county. But we did talk some, and I think, I'm quite certain I'm accurate saying this. Of course, asked him if I am. He said Vedic City does have the right to continue, that Mr. Ritz can come to the supervisors meeting and have that meeting, but that the right from Vedic City to still give comments on it still will exist. And I sent an email with that to Scott Klein, and I also mentioned, I sent a letter, or I copied him and the Board of Supervisors on this letter that the mayor sent out also, where, at least in the email, I said that we were continuing with our right to review it. So we're hoping, as I said, yeah, it's whoever said, oh yeah, there's attorneys, there are attorneys all over, but when you call them all and they don't say yes, we have 2 candidates that we are hoping to interview, at least one of them, at the city council meeting this Wednesday.
Darren, it's been over 6 months, time is this, since I don't think this on their part, they can find it.
I don't see where the county has anything that we can say about what they do out there in the city. And so if they're dragging their feet, that's something that they have to work out. We as the board can go ahead and approve this right now again, and then it's taken care of on our part. That kicks in the 90-day timeline, I think, that Scott was just talking about. So
Yeah, whatever the length of timeline is, I mean.
yeah, whatever that timeline is, it puts that into motion. So then something has to be done on the part of Vedic City. So that's the only thing that we can do at this point, is if we want to go ahead and approve this subdivision as we see it in front of us, we can go ahead and do that as the board today. Otherwise, we're just sitting and spinning our wheels as we have for a long time. So I would go ahead.
Shouldn't you talk to your attorney who I've spoken with this last week, Pat McAvan?
Pat is gone on a training today, Chauncey. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
He's around. Yeah.
He's around.
Right,
So
anyway,
exactly what does that mean? Because
It sounds like it's not available right now.
oh, okay.
I'm participating in a webinar. Okoboji all week, and instead I'm watching it on my computer every morning all week. So I just stepped out of the meeting, and Chauncey flagged me in here. So what's up?
So we're talking about subdivision that is wanting to be done out near Vedic City on their borderline.
Right. So they
have had discussions with Kent Boyum, who is also on with us today.
Right. They have an ordinance that exercises their 2-mile extraterritorial jurisdiction on subdivisions. And so what that means is that the application for approval of the subdivision needs to be made for both municipalities, both Vedic City and Jefferson County. And Vedic City's subdivision ordinance needs to be applied by both entities unless either entity waives off through formal action, like a motion, to not consider under their own ordinance. So for example, we've had this happen before where maybe it's a mile or a mile and a half from Vedic City or Fairfield, and they say, no, we're not going to look at it, county, you do what you want. We don't have that from Vedic City at this point. So you can consider it, but you have to consider it using Vedic City's ordinance, and Vedic City would still need to approve it. There is no timeline in the statute. So the process takes as long as the process does, but at this point, it's really a Vedic City issue. And I would say that if the Vedic City decides that they want to exercise their jurisdiction over that parcel, and considering it's contiguous with the county or with the city border, they may, then I would suggest at that time we talk about as a board whether you want to continue to be involved or if you want to waive off on using the county subdivision ordinance and put the ball entirely in Vedic City's court. So that's kind of where we are on it, but we are not in a position to move forward.
So the county's in the position to move forward. This city is, as we've heard, still waiting because of need of an attorney and other considerations.
But Darren, if you move forward, you have to apply Vedic City subdivision ordinance. Do you have a copy in front of you?
No, I do not.
Yeah,
So-
I just want to recap because obviously I want to make sure I
It's not
understood correctly. What I'm hearing you say is Vedic City needs to take action first and then we take action in this matter since they have that ordinance. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so that means we have to,
Their subdivision laws apply to me when I'm not in their city.
Because that's how the state statute reads. So that's a question for your legislator.
That's because of the 2 mile radius thing. That ain't right.
I didn't.
Yeah, go ahead.
The gentleman from Vedic City, he made a comment about, that you see that Van's been making the effort to clean up the place, I believe that you said.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just curious because you do know he has a recycling business. So is that playing into your decision, and do you have expectations? Could you elaborate a little bit on what you meant by, cleaning up the place?
Well, most of it, as I spoke briefly with Van, I shook his hand when he came. I thought I was trying to be very nice to him. And I think I was, and I think Van was being appropriate to me too. So, no, I didn't know that you have a recycling business. Is it located on that property?
Basically, yes. He takes stuff and he pulls out what's recyclable and then sells it.
It's a hobby.
I'm in
my
it doesn't matter,
retirement
he's
now.
retired.
I need something for income.
Yeah, no, I've noticed, it was more with your brother, that you would burn trash and other sort of things that are not allowed in the city. And of course, you're right on our border. And
It looks like you're bringing up a lot of stuff that don't matter to the housing development between the guns and the trash. And you just admitted he's cleaning it up. And you're still not in a timely fashion because it's been over 6 months for the sewer put in.
well, I was given some advice from someone else that perhaps, and I don't know. I'm not here to argue it. We need our attorney. We need to know what our rights are. And, that's how the law is. Within 2 miles, the city has an option to comment on.
Yeah, but you're bringing stuff up that has nothing to do with the housing deal. So let's stick with that. Why are we holding up on that?
No, Denise just asked me those questions. Thank you. And I don't even know who you are. So I don't know why the board isn't, giving you the right to talk. I don't know who said that. Sorry. Van didn't say it, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
So,
I don't know who said that, and I know he just wants to argue. So,
okay. So again, it's back up to
we're
on our
hoping to have an
part,
attorney.
waiting for you at Vedic City to come up with this.
so I'm going to make the motion to table this based upon the fact that because Vedic City needs to take action because they have the extraterritorial ordinance. Otherwise, we would have to follow that ordinance if we made a decision today.
Correct.
We table it until after they take action and then we'll.
Okay, I have a motion from.
There was not.
We've been fighting this since March. And like I said, they don't want to communicate. I try to talk to them. And
Hey,
basically
Ken?
I get a rude answer, tell me to blow me off.
When's your next meeting? City
It's
council
Wednesday at 2:30. It's
Wednesday at 2:30 is your next city council meeting, so you should attend that.
You can attend.
Van will be attending that city council meeting coming up on Wednesday. So
Fine with me. Yeah.
I have a motion to
have an attorney
table this. Excuse me, Kent?
I just said we don't have an attorney that'll be able to give him any feedback. Sorry, but we'd be happy to get it done as soon as we can. I mean,
know where that's gonna be located, where that meeting?
That's just down
Yeah, Van knows it's second floor. No, I'm wrong. Because of it'll be on a Zoom. So we'll send you, do we have your email, Van? Do you have an email we can send you how to connect by Zoom? It won't be in person, I'm sorry.
one mailing address.
Well, he needs an email address so
I
that
don't have an email.
he has no email.
I don't have
You can call on I'll give you a phone connection then, all right?
641
I mean, you can do it privately if you want, or you can give it.
6338.
641.
919
Thank you. I missed.
6338.
6338.
I got it. Great. Thanks. I'll have. And if you ask the city,
Peterson has it or did have it.
well, the city clerk should have it, but thank you.
Okay, so I have a motion to table this item. Second from myself. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. This matter is tabled by the Jefferson County Board of Supervisors. Okay, discuss and consider abatement of taxes for City of Batavia. So Mark, what is this?
So, 907 3rd Street, Batavia. It's been under tax sale. Tax sale investors actually at the point where they can apply for deed, but the city of Batavia would like to take it over. So, in situations like this, basically I write a check back to the tax sale investor. You guys abate the taxes, the city of Batavia takes it over, and the county basically eats it.
And how much is the county eating?
That I don't know, but it doesn't matter. It's a formality. You guys just approve it, goes to the auditors, they give it to me.
Seems like we ought to know how much it is.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was
Doesn't
thinking.
matter.
It doesn't matter how much it is.
No. I mean, I can go give you an amount if you want, but you guys still have to approve it.
Right, but it would
It'd
be
helpful
nice
to know.
to have the amount on record as far as what the county is abating as a total. You know, I realize that, you know, once we do something like this, it's over and done and it doesn't really matter, but it would be nice to have a number so that people understand what we're doing away with, how much tax we're going to be losing out on.
Okay.
So could you get us that number?
Do you need it before you vote?
Yeah, I think we want it before we vote.
Yeah, you can spend it.
Okay, thank you, Mark. All right, while we're waiting for Mark to return with that, we'll move ahead to make committee reports. Dee?
Last week I had Pathfinders, and they're doing real well. There's going to be a mine reclamation event in July. Hopefully they'll still hold it. But Pathfinders has been involved in a lot of good reclaiming of mine administrative work to help get those processes done. So that's the main thing, and they've applied this last couple of weeks for over, I believe it was $400,000 in grants. So they're doing a lot of grant writing. So it's all good. Things are going well. I've just been there about a year now, so she's done a great job. And then I sat in on that Community Partners Public Health webinar last week, and it was helpful to get the updates from the various agencies, and people are very prepared and still very cautious.
Okay. I had a meeting last Tuesday with DCAP board. They approved the final 2 contracts that they needed in order to get funding for programs for the next year and types of programs set up. Tammy Wiegert and I or Tammy Kesterson are going to get together and discuss some of what the board does and how the actions work and what what I am to start looking for as a new member to the DCAP board. They all understand the situation that I was in when it came to voting for the different approvals of reviews for the contracts, and allowed me to abstain from those two votes, but I voted for the contracts that were in place. So that is what I did with the committee last week. Okay, so that's all the committee reports that we had. Mark, you've come back in. Can you tell us what that number is?
You are abating $305. I'm writing a check to the tax sale investor for $2,903.45.
2,043.
2,903.
903. 45. Okay, so we know that the amount is under $3,000. D.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, we've got a motion from Sandquist to approve the abatement for taxes for the city of Batavia. I second that motion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. The motion carries. So we've gotten that accomplished. Do we have any public comments? Most of the public that was here has left. Do we have anybody that's on via Zoom that would like to make a comment to us here at the board?
No.
No? Okay. So we'll move on to allow claims and approve reports.
Motion to allow claims.
Motion to allow claims by Sandquist, second by Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We don't have any nuisance properties to discuss, so I would take a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Sandquist, second by Hamilton. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.